What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel where today I'll be continuing the rust repair on the 1962 Bel Air wagon project. So I'll give you a little bit of recap because more than likely you are one of the thousands that visit my channel every day and that are not subscribed. So if you are not subscribed, consider clicking the subscribe button. That helps support me and this channel. So previously I had been working on the floor section in the front and had moved to the rear section of the car. I've been working on this area pretty hard trying to get it all squared away so we can finally get it coated and get this body back onto the frame. But there are still some areas that I needed to patch up. Now the quarter panels obviously need work, but there's a few areas that we have to address first. One of those areas is a spare tire well on the right side of the car. This was one of the major areas of rust in the rear section of the car and I need to get it squared away, and that's exactly what I'm going to do today. We got this rust. I've talked about this before. There's been several problems with me getting work done on this car. One has been the weather. The weather has been terrible. If it's not cold, it's been rainy, and now that it's warm, it's still rainy. So that's a problem. Problem number two is parts availability. Now, I stated in my previous video about these patch panels, I've been waiting on them for roughly 9 months. It's been that long that I've been waiting for a patch panel. Parts availability right now is just not good. It doesn't matter what you're working on. It's just not good at all, any way you look at it. And I need to fix all this because my gas tank goes in from behind here and sits up in here, and this all needs to be squared away before I go ahead and put it on the frame. So with that being said, I lucked up the other day and I made a trip and I actually found me some takeoffs. Now these appear to be aftermarket replacements that somebody added into a quarter panel, and these were cut out because if you look here on the back side, somebody spliced into the original quarter and they were going to try to make the car a little nicer, so they're going to put full quarters on, so they cut these out. So I've got these patch panels for both sides. They're really solid, and these are for like a 2-door or 4-door. They don't quite fit the wagon. They do in the wheel wells, but not so much in the back. This area here needs to kind of be radiused out a little bit because this tucks under more on a 2-door and a 4-door versus the wagon we actually measured. It's actually a little longer here, but I think if I turn that radius out, those will work just fine. And I've got a patch for my trunk pan. Now, I don't know if I've ever showed you this before. Now, this is the donor piece that I got. This is one that was cut out of a car. But here underneath, somebody had cut a round circular hole out right here. And it didn't look very good. I didn't want to use a piece of flat plate because I wanted to make sure I had these ribs. So I got a piece out of the donor trunk, and now you can see I have the ribs. It's all nice and solid on the trunk pan here. Now, for the most part, I've got everything pretty solid underneath the car, except for the inner fender over there on the other side, and for the spare wheel well, which is pretty common. I'm gonna have to go in here and make a couple pieces because just like everything else, they do not sell it for the wagon. So that's what I'm out here concentrating on today, trying to get some of this stuff squared away. And I believe I'm gonna go ahead and start trying to work on this panel. I need to build at least a lip down here, and then this part right here shouldn't be too bad. We might have to make it in 2 or 3 different pieces. Now, some of my patches here and here, they're all complete. So that really pretty much completes this side underneath the car. So I've moved over here on this side, and the major problem over here was a spare tire wheel well. And if you look, I've already started doing some work. I've already kind of made this piece. Now this has got a bunch of compound curves and stuff in here and a lip. And this is going to be a little complicated to make. And you have to make it because you can't buy it, and you can't cut it out of an old car because it's probably in the same shape as rusted up. As you can see, I've welded a down piece here. It is a little warped. I have to straighten it out, but I'm going to wait until I get my other panel finished up in here. But I've got a good start. And the weird thing about these wagons is this piece actually hangs down, and it does look kind of funny, but that's just the way it is. So I'm gonna have to just do the best I can here to get this right because I don't really have much to go on. I've got a few pieces left. Of course, we're gonna have to rework all this and up in here. So I'm not exactly sure if I want to cut one big solid piece out of the patches that I showed, or if I just want to section in these patches or what. We'll just figure that out. But here's the start, and I'm going to jump back on this, trying to fill in this area here and also on the backside. And here's where we're at so far. So I've replaced this section right here so I can have a nice lip to work on. I do need to replace that section right there. But as far as my wheel well patch, you can see I've got a couple pieces zip screwed together so I can get all the curves right. And I think it's going to turn out pretty good. Now this is a pretty complicated piece. I've been working on this for quite a while. It took me a while to do this. And this is the most complicated piece that I have actually made for this entire car. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start tacking some of this stuff up, and I'm going to, once I get it tacked up, I'm going to pull it back off the car and we'll see if we can grind it down. And what I'm going to probably do is come in here somewhere and cut a line and butt weld it all up so it'll be nice. And of course I need to make this back piece, which is probably going to be just about as fun as making this outer piece. And here's the patch panel. Now it's pretty much finished. It's not the prettiest thing, but it'll work out just fine. It's really solid. It's really sturdy. Now the next thing I need to do, I need to make me some holes for my spot welds here, and I'm going to fill all this in and grind it down. Once I get it all welded in, we're going to butt weld this thing in. I need to cut out a few extra pieces here, and this thing will be ready to weld in permanently. With a little bit of welding and some more grinding, you can see that the spare tire well is all welded in nice and solid, and that's a good thing. That means that we can stop focus on this and we can move on to areas like the wheel well. With the spare tire well squared away, I can finally move on to doing the rust repair in those dreaded quarter panel areas. So I'd like to say thank you for watching. Be sure to check out all my videos on all my other projects, and if you are not subscribed, be sure to click that subscribe button, click the bell so you'll get the notifications, and you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram.